So if I were to show you my script, I just finished let's say a 10-minute short script.
Okay.
What would be the next step for me as the writer? What do I now have to do?
I would send it through my legal, as I call it, sniff test. And then at that point, I would start doing a line item budget on what it's going to take to get the film done. And that could be done from the breakdown sheets of it. You get the script and go through the breakdown sheets, and then you kind of put the budget based on that. Your above the line costs and your below the line costs.
Okay.
How much is the director, you're going to pay the director on your above line costs or anybody else is involved. And then your below line costs, of course, anything, it can go from the camera crew all the way to lighting and essentials, those things as small as gaffer's tape, getting those line item budget. Yeah, getting everything budgeted out, because those little items, the essentials, those could actually boost your budget up. So you have to make sure you can line item budget it front to back. And then at that point, once we get a budget together, a projected budget, we can start from there. Of course, once you finish it, those budgets, you want to keep those projected budget as under as possible. So let's hypothetically say if I said we're shooting for a $10,000 film or a $25,000 film, if I can keep it as under that $25,000 as possible, we're doing under budget and we're doing good. The reason most people go over budget is that anticipated costs and schedule changes. You have to keep adding on extra days and stuff like that. That can drive your budget up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you determine when you find someone that says to you, "Oh, can you produce my script for me?" How do you make the decision on whether or not to say yes to them? Or how do you know it's a good collaboration between the two of you?
I think the biggest thing is that if someone tells me they want me to produce a script or they show me the script, I first see how connected they are within the community. I want to see what they're going to bring to the table as well. I want to see how much heart they're going to bring to the table, because when you're coming into these type of relationships, it's almost like a marriage. Yeah. You're meeting somebody, you're going to be working through them throughout the entire project. So you want to make sure there's a communication strategy in place. You have to, when there are points that you can talk, make sure that you're on the same page all throughout. And that's really what makes my decision, whether or not, if you're the type of person that's going to get behind it yourself or just pass off the script to me, that'll let me know whether or not you're the person I want to work with. Because if you don't believe in your own script, why should I believe in it?
True.
So I want to see how much skin you're putting in the game as well.
Okay. So both of you need to be working hard to make sure it happens.
Yeah, to make sure it happens. Because if the person is not bringing anything financial to the table, first I'm going to ask, well, what else are you bringing to the table if you're not bringing any finances to the table? Right. Or you bringing manpower to the table? Or you bringing resources? Right. Or can you get stuff at a discount? Nowadays, a lot of students have access to equipment, so you can cut the budget significantly by bringing those students involved that have access to equipment at their universities or schools. Right. So there's so many different ways you can cut the budget down. So it really starts there. The communication strategy, how willing this person is to work with you as a team, because you are a team at that point, bringing this whole thing together.
Right. Okay. Now, how do you estimate the value of the project? Because you were talking about a budget before. So
yes.
How do you determine?
I think it's really hard to determine the value of a script unless you know what the current market is. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a friend that they used to produce horror films. They already knew the market that was out there, so they knew all the avenues and all the distribution channels that they had to go through. They knew what Blair Witch Project was doing, so their goal is to go with that. So, but if you're doing something like an action figure or some type of Marvel comics, of course, they have a built-in merchandising machine. Yes. So once they sell their project or get it to big screen, they can sell T-shirts all the way to action figures. So across the board, it's really hard to say how much you can make, but there's a lot of money that a lot of film producers leave on the table because they don't take everything into consideration. So if I'm doing I'm currently working on a project right now, and I'm working with the director, and his whole vision now is that he's telling me everything that he wants to do. He's always thinking about coffee table books, everything across the board.
He's in it.
Yeah, so he already has a long-term strategy in his mind, and those are the type of people that I believe in. Because
and this is for a short? Or
yeah, this is for a short
really?
film. Yeah, that has the potential to go bigger because of the content that he's putting together. So it could be everything from a coffee table book all the way to selling action figures that are associated with it, and just like little patches, little Boy Scout patches that people put on stuff, things like that. So it's a zombie film, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So, things like that, and he opened up a whole new market to me just by talking with him and what he's trying to accomplish. And I learned a lot just by meeting and talking with him.
And he intends to make it a feature, I suppose.
Yes. The
Okay.
long-term goal is to make it a feature. Yes.
Okay.
So you start with the short film and you create a feature off of that. You can also do stuff. You know, there's so many different things you can do on social media to raise money with your friends.
Like
as
with
well.
the Indigo,
Indigo, Kickstarter programs. You do your short film, you post it on there and say, hey, I want to turn this short into a feature and go from there.
And you do your marketing like he's trying to do at the same time?
Same time, yeah. So you raise the money 2 different ways at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always good to have as I call it, the family and friends, go to them first. Because
they love you.
They love you, but they're going to be the quickest ones to turn you down as well. Because, you know,
true.
but you have to get prepared for it. As a producer, that's part of my job as well. I'm currently all the time, I'm raising money. ABC, always be closing, okay? So you're constantly closing, you're constantly raising money. You have to ask. A closed mouth never gets fed.
Right.
So you have to keep asking for money. Even when the film is in process, you got to say, hey, I need some money to finish my film. So you have to keep going. Don't stop. Don't get discouraged.
Even if people are like, no!
Well, exactly. They're going to tell you no, but you have to keep going because, and if they do tell you no, always ask. Well, is there anybody else you can introduce me to? I always do that because a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is when you ask for money from someone that you think loves you and they tell you no, and it breaks your heart.
Yes,
and it makes you stop. I know a lot of people that have projects sitting on the shelf because they asked somebody that was so close to them and just broke their heart and they didn't know how to go past that. But you got to be like, okay, thank you, you know, and if it don't work out, you know, just keep moving.
Keep trying.
Keep moving, keep trying, yes.